Health is more than the absence of disease. It is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. Welcome, and I'm so glad that you're here. Here we talk about personal development, relationships, and mental health, just to name a few. My name is Carmen, a registered counsellor who is passionate about coming alongside people. This podcast is designed to create a discussion and bring awareness around what matters most in life, and that includes you. The goal is that each episode will leave you feeling encouraged, equipped, and empowered so you can live your best life. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode. How are you? Have you been practicing the sweetness of doing nothing? In last week's episode, we looked at finding pleasure from savouring a moment. And if you missed it, I encourage you to go back. So I was practicing the sweetness of doing nothing, and I could feel myself getting jumpy. I tuned into my self-talk and caught myself thinking, I should be doing something productive. So why am I sharing this? For two reasons. One, to remind ourselves that it takes practice to be still if we are hardwired to be on the go and busy. And number two, to be productive, we must actively rest. And when we actively rest, the chances are we are productive. So this week, we'll be unpacking what it looks like to manage our well-being. Better Health explains that well-being is not just the absence of disease or illness. It's a complex combination of a person's physical, mental, emotional, and social health factors. Well-being is strongly linked to happiness and life satisfaction. In short, well-being could be described as how we feel about ourselves and our life. An Australian consumer study about well-being showed that 58% wish they could spend more time on improving their health and well-being. If you have the desire to increase your sense of well-being, then this episode is for you. Like a boss is used when someone does something very well. So why is it important to handle our well-being like a boss? Let's start with, if we don't take care of our well-being, then who will? Looking after our well-being is a role designated for us to fulfill, even if it means we need a team to help us. Different areas of our lives make up well-being. This can include physical, social, psychological, emotional, and spiritual. Here are what each of these can look like. Physical well-being could be getting a good night's rest, physical activity and body movement, eating food that is high in nutritional value, and regular checkups. Social well-being could be maintaining and building strong relationships, engaging with people in the community, and further developing communication skills. Psychological well-being can be developing a growth mindset, practicing mindfulness, building self-awareness by journaling, or by talking things through with a friend or a professional. Emotional well-being could be increasing emotional awareness, stress management, building resilience, learning to process both pleasant and unpleasant emotions. Spiritual well-being can look like discovering one's purpose in life, meditating or praying, volunteering, and practicing gratitude. This is no small job, but I wonder if it's necessary if we are going to be the best versions of ourselves. The value of a good boss is beyond measure. A good boss will make room for educational opportunities, provide motivation, encourage goal setting and work towards it, make themselves available to listen, be empathic, offer solutions, communicate realistic expectations, and empower their employees to reach their full potential. A recent study by the University of Manchester Business School recently took a closer look at how employees are affected by toxic bosses. Not surprisingly, people working for a toxic boss experienced lower rates of job satisfaction, but even more alarming, employees' office-place misery spilled over into their personal lives too. Under toxic leadership, employees are more than likely to become overly critical of one another. They were more than likely to take credit for other people's work, and they behaved more aggressively towards their fellow employees. When it comes to managing our well-being, let's take notes from the good boss. So where do we start if we want to handle our well-being like a boss? Perhaps it's identifying the gaps. We can't change what we are not aware of. 5 ways of well-being have a quiz that you might like to take, and I will include the quiz in this episode's show notes. On a side note, no matter what your score is or where you find yourself, remember to be kind to yourself and know it's a process. You may want to write down areas that need your attention and then come up with a plan. I will also include a link to a resource where you can do just that. So before we part ways, here are some tips that can set you up to win. Start from where you are rather than waiting for the one day when. Don't make drastic changes that cannot be maintained. It's better to take small steps than a big leap and stop there. Remind yourself it's about progress rather than perfection. And when you lose your way, take a moment and pick up from where you left off. So here is to you and living your life like a boss. Wishing you a great week ahead, and until next time, take care. So that's it for today's episode, and as always, I am grateful for the opportunity to come alongside you. If you know someone who might benefit from hearing this episode, why not share it with them? And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. For more content or to learn about the services I provide, head over to carmendebono.com.au, and I look forward to coming alongside you again next Wednesday.